Hello. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? Hopefully I did a couple of test streams last week. There was, actually it was 2 weeks where my voice was doing some annoying stuff, so I think we should be all good this week. I think. Yeah, pretty sure. Nice to see everyone turning up in the comments, a couple of regulars and a couple of people saying we got what we wanted, which is cool. I'm aware that there was some people who were like, they wanted to see some sort of sound design sessions based around genres and styles. So this one is really cool, on trend. And cyberpunk sort of is not just a musical thing, as a lot of you are talking about in the comments. Let's have a look who's here. Hello, James, Merly, Drunk Bishop, Hydrotech. I think Hydrotech, you were possibly in Discord requesting this genre, so that's awesome. More of that is what we need. Hello, JK. Hello, Simple Sam. Some regular names here. What did everyone get up to at the weekend? I hope everyone had a good time. We shall get rolling in the usual 5 minutes. For those of you who are here for the very first time, this is our weekly sound design sessions when I host me, Brent March, struggling to get my words out, host sound design sessions, and we look at all sorts of stuff from designing presets with synth and creating our own samples, whether it be drum samples, or we've looked at a lot of stuff now. Just have a look in the playlist. But yeah, hit the bell icon and stay tuned for future streams if you're into this sort of thing. Oh, now I can quite easily go back to that Barry White. Easy. I'm actually really bad at doing a. I'm really bad at doing a low voice, but yeah, I think this voice is a lot better than last week, thank God. Yes, so that was your request, Hydrotech. That's awesome. Hopefully we can delve into it today and have some fun. So yeah, what do people think of Synthwave? Hello, Oyamas. Hello, everyone. It's good to be back. Cool to see. Oh, from Los Angeles. Lovely. I'm sure it's warmer than it is here. It's only about 16 degrees Celsius here in the coldest part of the UK, can you believe? In the hottest month of the year. I'm good, Himanshu, nice to see you. Hey, Drunk Bishop, I love Synthwave. Awesome, yeah. Cyberpunk and Synthwave are kind of similar, if not basically the same, but just what changes it is just sort of like harmonic and maybe the overall vibe. I think Cyberpunk's quite dark and industrial and sort of tech-oriented. So yeah, to outline the rest of today, Hail Hydra, outline the rest of today, we're going to basically look at the fundamentals of synthwave and cyberpunk. So what makes this sound the way it is? So it's all about basically epic, punchy. It's mainly, when it comes down to drums, it's mainly just kick and snare on the 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, four. It's almost 4 on the floor. But it's really quite simple. A lot of the cyberpunk is based around really, really gritty and distorted sounds, primarily basses, and primarily we're going to be using sawtooths, really. Saws, super saws, stuff like that. We'll see what we can get done today. There's loads of stuff we can do. I'm going to primarily use pigments, but I'm going to dive into using some other tools because I know not everyone is using that. I'm going to try and use a lot of the kilohertz stuff because that's really, really good for like creative sound design mixing. If anyone has had experience using the kilohertz stuff, really, really great sound design plugins actually. I seen someone saying they got a Neve clone this weekend. That is pretty cool. Really, really cool. So yes, this is an internet description. Is cyberpunk is primarily a visual and literary genre, and cyberpunk could be any music that displays synergies with the key topics of technology, industry, and griminess. Alternative culture, dysfunctional society. Basically, think of dystopia and worlds caving in. I know that game was basically what sort of started off this trend. I think that game, something happened. It might have got pulled. I can't even remember. I'm not a gamer, sadly. So let's have a look at today. Someone saying please use Serum or Vital. I will definitely use a mixture of things. That's what I'm going to try and do, just so everyone. Something that at least everyone sort of uses. Last week we were looking at, bang on the money, EOS Music, Phase Plant. Phase Plant is awesome. A little bit more advanced than Pigments, Vital or Serum. Well, not a little bit, quite a bit more. So yeah. Sony offered refunds. Oh, interesting. Cool. Someone knows their stuff. So, here we go then. If you have any questions, as always, remember you can hit me up and I will answer all the questions as I normally do in the last sort of 5-10 minutes. I'm aware that this might be one with quite a few questions, but I'm just going to try and take it at a slow pace and focus on the key elements, like I said, the bass really. I'm not going to be designing my own drum samples purely because it's just too much to cram in. I don't want people to go away and just be like, we didn't really spend enough time on certain things. So I will use some drums, but I'm not going to be designing them, but I will talk about them. So let's start off with my favorite. I know a lot of people here enjoy pigments. Let's just check the old sounds. Hopefully that's waking you up if it's early in the morning. Let me look at my running order. So I'm not going to make my own drum samples. Synths, I'm going to try and cover basses, pads, leads, maybe some arpeggios. We're going to be using a lot of saws, a lot of distortion, a lot of modulation. And I'm going to try and use pigments. Vital, DX7 possibly, which we looked at just about a couple of weeks ago at a FM synthesis stream. Might have a chance to use that because we looked at that and show how we can use that for transitions like downers and sweeps and stuff. And in terms of plugins, I'm going to use Cable Guy stuff because that's really good for movement, and also Nicky Romero Kickstart's quite similar. If you have any questions about any of these stuff, just drop it in the comments. Someone will know. And Kilohertz stuff, like I said, because I do believe Kilohertz make the best sound design stuff. So let's start then. Let's start with our, basically we'll just start with a whole note sort of bass pattern, just, 4 beats of each. And let's start with our first initial sound. So like I said, we're going to use mainly a combination of saws and squares. Let me see if I have this diagram. I just used this a couple of weeks ago. There we go. Anyone who is basically not super familiar, I would recommend you go and watch Beginner's Guide to Sound Design. But we're going to be primarily using square and sawtooth waves because they have a lot more harmonic content. They're richer and you're going to get the sound that you need to chase those sort of cyberpunk and synthwave-esque pads and basses. So if this is brand new to you, go to the sound design playlist on the YouTube channel and delve into it. Now that we're done with that, let's pull up pigments. And the first thing I'm going to do, just to get in the right mind frame, is I'm just going to tune everything down a full octave here. Okay, cool. I'm just going to turn this unison off for now. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to move over to a second engine in pigments. If anyone feels like I'm going a tad fast in terms of the tools I'm using, there is content, all over the place on the channel in terms of we've looked at pigments, vital, serum, just about every wavetable, I think, and phase plan. Okay, going to go to another wavetable and go into the synthesizers form, and these are some slightly more interesting shapes. So this is sort of a cross between a triangle and a saw. It's a little bit more subby. Again, we might just change these out, but it's just to get the creative process going. So the thing that we need to establish is I'm just going to try and get a little bit of like a structure going with this. We're not going to be creating a full song or anything. We're mainly looking at the designing of the sounds, but just so you can hear them all layering together in the different parts and how they interact, I'll record the parts in as well. So I'm going to use a low pass filter on this multi-mode filter over here. And I'll keep it on 24. One thing I do wonder is why they didn't give us an 18 here, but never mind. Okay. Okay, I'm going to change my main voltage controlled amplifier and increase the release value as well. I'm using this as like a really, really dark bass to start off with is the idea. That dies away really nicely. Okay. Now, there is a little bit more we could do in terms of shaping just some really basic mod points. I'm going to use a function curve to control the cutoff. Okay, we can draw in different shapes here, so maybe get it to go up and ramp back down. That's quite nice. I might just put it in one play mode. Okay, that'll do for now. I'm just going to come back into the analog engine actually, and we can layer multiple oscillators here to get a sort of Juno type oscillator. These two are currently off, but let's just use this first one. Okay, and again, this I'm going to introduce some unison. Okay, so we're starting to get the initial sort of bones of the synthwave and primarily cyberpunk sound design, which is the bass sound. So just to cover before I move on to effects, because largely for the bass sound, that is a good fundamental starting point, and then we can layer and look at using more sort of gritty layers and blending different types. I shaped the VCA here just to taste. None of this is absolutely prescriptive. You can do things as you like, but I increased the release, and the reason I did that is so when I play a note, it doesn't die off straight away. As you can see, the little curve, nice animated curve showing us the decrease of the amplitude over time. And I increased the attack slightly because I don't want it to just be immediate. I want to work up to it roughly. And we can also do the curve, which is great. And then I have two different engines. I have a wavetable engine, which I have an idea. I'm going to just apply a LFO between these two. And again, same thing, LFO2. I'm going to make sure it's in one run mode. Okay, lovely. So some of the effects that I'm going to use in Pigments, primarily the main thing we want to look at is distortion and also modulation. As you can see, we've got a lot go on here. So let's start off by using a distortion on the, let's put them on FXB because I am going to use the delay and the reverb. So we've got a couple of different types here. Let's have a listen. So we're basically thickening up and adding more harmonics to the combined waveforms there. Okay, let's do a little comparison as we go along. What about an overdrive instead? So it's a different form of clipping, distortion, overdrive, and preamps. They're all slightly different. Now it's changed the tone in a way that I'm not really liking, so let's ditch the overdrive. Wave folder, again, quite different. We can also do wave folding on individual waveforms here. It basically is collapsing the fundamentals and the harmonics of the waveform in on itself, but again, we'll leave that one. And then a bit crusher is a little bit more digital. So we're going to use the distortion for now, but I actually have a kilohertz plugin that I'm going to use as an insert called the Faturator, I think, which is an incredibly cool tool. So I'm just trying to wake my screen up here. My LG screen does this annoying thing where it goes to sleep. Cool, let's go back to FXA, and I'm going to introduce some, let's try a hall reverb, because a lot of the cyberpunk and synthwave stuff uses huge reverb spaces, which is quite cool because we're going through this phase at the minute in terms of, like, if we're talking about the charts and pop culture, it's like a new 80s disco revolution where everything's quite dry vocals, dry bass lines, and cyberpunk and synthwave is absolutely drenched in like cinematic and really, really big spatial effects. Okay, I just need to bring the pre-delay back. Excellent. I'm just going to bring the cutoff back a tad. Great, we're getting a pretty cool sound now. Let's go over this second oscillator. It's also, if anyone's seen Blade Runner, it's got that sort of Vangelis sound. I think I seen someone mention a CS80 a while back, but again, I'll check out all your comments at the end and questions. Feel free to ask loads. If you feel like it's unrelated, you can always chuck it into our Discord server, and then we can come to you from there. So I'm going to head down to the aux, and on the aux, I'm going to add my modulations. Again, you don't have to do this in a plugin. Chorus is actually not what I'm after. I'm going to use flanger. And is there a way I can bring this to 0? And let's use so that's the flanger. I wanted to use the BL20 flanger. Let's stick on FXB. Chorus, stereo pan, phaser. I don't know why I felt like there was a new phaser. No. Cool. I'm just going to bring back the feedback and the rate. And let's add the flanger here. And I'll turn off this aux channel actually. Excellent. That's a good sound. It's really, really good. Okay. In terms of tempo, probably something like 105 is good. So let's think of a little simple pattern that we can use to layer stuff on top of. Let me think. Okay, that'll do. Like I said, this is not a theory or a composition class, but I want to show you how all these sounds are going to come together. Okay, and let's just record this part. Okay, some really good playing there from me, as you can tell. And some interesting quantize. It's on the 16th note. Okay, again, I don't think it's going to snap much better. That's better. Okay, really basic. I'm in the key of D minor, by the way, just in case anyone's interested. Cool. And let's say that is our bass pattern done for now. We're going to layer it as well with other bass sounds as well, and we'll probably use Pigments for that, and I'll use Vital for something else, and Serum for something else. Okay. Change this grid to 4. Pretty good sound from scratch. So now that I'm playing back what I've basically created, I'm going to change the envelope again, because the release is a bit long. As you can hear, there's a slight overlap and it gets a bit messy, especially if you have it drenched in reverb. There we go. Much better, cleaner. Excellent. And I could assign the cutoff to a macro if I want. There we go. And now I'm going to say cut off, and now in my performance or live, whatever, I can just basically assign that to something like an encoder, and then I can just use that to control a global cutoff region. So macros are nice and useful. Let's just check the comments quickly. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that I'm not blowing anyone's ears off. I don't think I am. Cool. We'll leave drums and stuff for now. Pigments. Let's continue. We're not going to layer the bass for now because we need to make sure we get some parts covered. So I'm going to now duplicate the entire track, and I'm going to completely get rid of that patch, solo it, go back to the original default, and I'm going to create like a atmosphere. Let's have a look in sample based, and let's have a look in vocals. Female breath. Let's check this out. Okay, that is very breathy, isn't it? Getting there. Maybe a choir. Ooh, yeah, that's probably exactly what I need. Yeah, that's cool. Let's just try going through these. Oh, yes, that's exactly what I'm on about. Okay, I'm just shaping this. I might apply a really basic sort of sine wave to this, or at least try it, just to follow along. And I'll send this to a separate filter. Great, yeah, I'm just going to pitch this up. Okay, let's change the routing of these. There we go. Independent routing for each channel. So this is just backing up the main line here. Let's increase the volume. Without it, I'm going to bring this. Let's check this out. Yeah, it is strengthening it quite a bit. Cool. I think I'm just going to try. We could try some cool granular effects as well. Let's stick some of the old reverb on here. Okay, I'm going to put on a multiband. We're mainly using it for the highs and the mids. Okay, nice. Maybe we can put on one last thing. Stereo pan. And I was looking for, yeah, just a EQ to try and keep things in up, boost some of the highs and reduce some of these sort of high mids at 800. Okay, let's see how this is layering up. Okay, I'm going to increase this. Excellent. Okay. Okay. That'll do for now. Doesn't have to be anything mad. Let's duplicate again. How are we doing for time? Oh, not bad. Not bad. I'm going to now have a look at creating a. Let's think. Maybe some sort of tighter arpeggiated sound. So let's work on. I'm just going to remove this really harsh distortion. In fact, I'm going to remove all the... I can just turn off the entire effects then. Lovely. Still nice. And I'm going to make this much tighter. So bringing the attack back. Let's bring our sustain up and bring our release down. Let's check this out. And again, I'm going to use maybe this waveform. I'll remove this functions cutoff. Great, let's head over to sequence, and we have an inbuilt arpeggiator here. Okay, let's switch on to the arpeggio mode. Yeah, that's quite cool. All we need to do is just boost the overall level because of the way we've changed the envelope here. We lose a little bit of the amplitude over time. I'm going to bring more of the high end cut. Okay. Bit long on the delay here, but I want to put it in a bigger space. And let's put chorus on it. Where's the new tunes? Okay. We'll just keep it one waveform, keep it nice and simple. And again, that cutoff is still mapped, which is good. Let's just check this in terms of the performance side. What was I playing? Nice, yeah, nice. I think it just needs a little bit more of this present. And I'll bring this delay on echo ping pong. Just try an echo mode for now. Okay, I'm just going to pull this part down, and I'm going to just stack the. Good. These are probably going to be wrong in terms of the minor thirds, the major thirds, but there we go. It needs to be a major third. Major third. It was flat ever so slightly. That one's okay. Okay, let's hear what we have now. Remember, it's all about really big spaces. Cool. And last thing, just a really simple lead, and I'm just going to duplicate the track, get rid of this, and make this up. Remove the arpeggiator. This sounds quite good, to be honest. Yeah, it's quite good. Just a little bit tighter in terms of the decay. Let's just try and jam with this then. Yeah. So now you're in the inspirational environment after 15-20 minutes of carving out patches, and it's about shaping your structure and your arrangement. But as sounds, these are really, really usable already, and it doesn't take much. As you see, I'm using the same patch more or less there that I used before because it just sounds pretty cool. Let me just take off the loop region, and what was that? Was that? I'm using the pitch wheel as well to write in some manual modulation. Cool, let's go for it. really quickly. These are probably, that's much better. And then we can go back to the loop region. Just change the attack value here. I'm going to add some multi-band. Now all you're missing for your Cyberpunk, your synthwave is like the drum patterns for Cyberpunk and synthwave are like stupidly simple but sound so good. It's like very 80s, you know. The snare is in a huge gated reverb, and the kicks often have a lot of like Foley layered on them, or maybe a conventional electronic kick is layered with something like a timp hit or a taiko. You know, with a taiko you get the brush sound on the rim. They layer them two samples together and you get something quite special. But this is cool. I'm happy with this so far. Very cool. We could probably do it twice over. And what I'm going to do is just get rid of that loop region and just group these parts. And then what I will bring in here is some really, really simple drums. So like I said, in terms of the drums, we probably need a separate session to look at shaping snares at least. But we do have on the playlist a episode called Designing Your Own, it's Kicks in Depth, and it's designing your own kick drums from scratch. We're probably going to look at snares in the future for sure, but if we're going to look at that, it's a bit too much to cover in this session along with all the other sound design things. So I'm just going to show you how you can use maybe some preset drums that you might already have in your DAW. Let's have a look what we have here. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Is there anything... Just looking for a snare which is a bit more inspiring. Okay, quite like that kick, but it needs to be a bit tighter. This'll do, yeah. We can always shape as well, you know. So this needs a filter on it. And from here, let me just record in that really simple pattern I was on about. And it'll be again, some beautiful playing from me, nicely in time. I don't know if I might lay the kick up as well. Let's check this out. Here we go. Okay, cool. And then in the separate region here with these impacts, I've got kick on here. And something else that's characteristic of these samples, these drum samples, is huge epic drum samples, and they are in the big space again. So I'm going to start bringing out some of these tools like Faturator. So Faturator is a kilohertz plugin, really, really cool. Let's dial the mix back. Okay, what a cool tip I had seen about creative sound design mixing and normal mixing is whatever you bring your setting to, say threshold or something on a compressor or a reverb mix, do it 10% less than you actually think you would, because you've probably overdone it, if you know what I mean. So I could have had to mix it 100 but back it off. Well, 100 would have sounded ridiculous, but you know what I mean, just back it off ever so slightly. And what have we got here in terms of reverb? A kilohertz again, do another one. Nice, a little bit muddy. Just gonna EQ a little bit out. Low frequencies. That's better. Anything 100, 200, we can just ditch for now. None of this is surgical, but this is, we're going to duplicate all these parts over. And, oh my goodness. Where's the, when things don't work? Okay, so here, you could sidechain. Another characteristic, a huge sound design thing with this is we've got quite a bit of sidechain going on for movement, and we can do this even quicker just using Kickstart, which also comes with the shape box from Cable Guys. So let's check this one out. Okay, we're definitely going to put on here. Let's put some shaping on here. Kickstart's really good for creative sound design and maybe bouncing a part down to audio. If you want to have a little bit more control, what's a bit more intuitive is Cable Guy's Volume Shaper. Let's use it on a different track. So this vocal part. Cable Guys. I'm as good at spelling as I am recording. Okay. Let's go on the time-based algorithm. And actually I'm gonna ditch the time one. The one I want is volume, actually. Volume, let's go on here and we'll go on some of these rhythms. So that's what we want, but we need to change the bar length. So it's much tighter value than I'm after. Let's try 4. We're going to bring the mix back. We can shape this as well. So it's just changed the sound of it. We can use it in a totally different way as well. So we can just use it as a multi-band as well, which is fantastic. It's a really, really great tool, this. Okay, we've got a bit of movement going on in all of these, really. Let's check this out. So... Okay, and time to bring out another tool, which is a huge favourite of mine for sound design, which is that Faturator, which is just amazing. Stereo turbo is amazing. Okay, brilliant. Let's check this out. So I'd have a riser here, you know. Just basic drums. Cool. In terms of gain staging, I know it's just sound design, not gain, but let's look at this kick. This kick is just way too loud. So perceived loudness is different to actual volume, so what you can do is use something like a Faturator to beef it up. And saturation will reduce the dynamic range a bit. Okay, cool. So again, the main reason for me layering is to just show sounds coming together. You could work on the mix of this as well in a totally separate video. But we have our sawtooth bass. with the wavetable layered with an analog engine, filters, shape the VCA, and effects is a huge part of it. Then we have the old ARP, which let's just do some automation now then to this. Let's automate macro 1. Excellent. We used a couple of weeks ago DX7. We've been looking at FM synthesis, frequency modulation, where we are using operators and carriers. Basically, we're using a oscillator to modulate an oscillator versus LFOs to move oscillators. And it's all to do with frequency modulation and vibrations over time. If that just was so confusing, you can go and watch the full hour stream on FM synthesis. But Arturia have a cool DX7 recreation, which is a lot more versatile than it used to be in the physical domain, at least. But what we can do is really quickly make some spatial effects out of this. Again, let me get me on with Defil Punch. That's cool. This is not going to be anything crazy, to be honest. We could use an operator to modulate an oscillator. And let's bring, we need to go to the envelopes, and then we need to go to our global pitch envelope. You could do this with phase plant as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically increase the pitch envelope over time, like this. So a gradual. And I believe we can change the 4 point. We can't change the. That was our alarm sound that we did a couple of weeks back. Yeah, we can do it here, but I think good way to make kicks here, by the way. I'm thinking about, just want to make the value of it longer. I'm thinking whether I want to bounce it in time stretcher, which could be cool as well, just to show some other tools. Let's just record this for now. So rather than, how do I make an effect? You can just do it so simply like that. And then, there we go. I've bounced it down into some glorious audio. And get my trim tool. And just delete this bit. Delete this bit. And I'll get rid of the DX7 for now, because we don't really want to spend ages on this. If we go here, we could turn it into a sample instrument. People enable, and we'll use a different one, but we could use sample 1 here. Actually, what I really want to do is reverse the audio, like this. Let's check this out. And again, I'm going to time stretch it. And we can change the time stretch algorithm over here. Not bad. I don't believe that was the correct time stretch algorithm, was it? Yeah, it is, because the tape resample. So time stretching is a really good way to change the quality of a sample. I'll just use normal Elastic Pro. So those sort of tech sounds are largely FM based that we hear in Cyberpunk. It's very tech and industrial oriented, and you get a lot of that from these sort of FM synth sounds. You can do them in Serum as well. Let's have a look at kilohertz There's a really great one that we can use. We could use comb filter as well. This is quite a good one. And let's just layer another one. Bit crush, delay. The distortion's really good. There's too many tools. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do is just put it in a space. And what will I use for that? I think actually I know that we have open air, which is PreSonus. Whether I have the actual, oh no, I don't. Shame, I don't have the. It's a convolution reverb, so that would have been really good for something like that. But we can just use normal. Well, not normal. We'll use rev intensity. This is a great sound design tool from Arturia. Okay, if that isn't epic enough for you, I'm afraid I don't know what will be. And I'm just going to rebounce this and resample as I go along. You just get a bit more freedom. I'm going to resampling it, bouncing it reduces artifacts and your chances of getting aliasing in the high end mainly. I'm going to do one more time stretch of this. Let's check this out now. So this is one effect. There's a little blip at the end there. Let's sort that out so we can see the samples finishing beforehand. All we have to do is just trim that off. And you could tidy up more in a sampler, of course. G and bounced again. Okay, let's see if we can use this here. And then I've just realized the time. There we go, we got a cool downer. I would suggest that we maybe pull back on the... is it in advanced? The size, but also the decay. I must be blind as a bat. This must have a decay to control, I'm pretty sure. But that's a good sound, really cool. So let's have a look at what we have. And then we could go further down this rabbit hole. The thing I haven't quite had enough time to do, but we might just slip it in, is the 303 style thing. Like I said, it's more of a mixing thing. We would actually start to we'd start to make the impact a bit more dramatic and cut things out using who is it? Audio Thing do a really good one called Tilt, and it's just a 2-band EQ, so you could just cut all the highs or lows for the drop section there. But we've got a bass there that I was just going to talk before about layering. I'm going to do that now quickly, and I'll it's doing its magic. Okay, so if I layer the bass here, what I want to do is I want to make this bass have no low end at all, but make it really, really gritty. And how I do that is I'm going to change the low pass to a high pass and let the highs through. And I'm going to make this one, I'll leave some reverb on, but what I want to do is add a multiband and really make this one bright. Let's check this out. Okay, again, I think I could probably filter out more low end, to be honest. Or come to think of it, multi-mode bandpass. That makes sound cool. That's quite a... That's a very cyberpunk-esque sound with plenty of grit. So it's all about layering as well. I'll keep that on and reduce this. I could probably just have one wavetable. And I would lastly just going to filter out with a multi-filter, low pass, go back to high pass and just roll off low end. Change it for another band pass. Let's see how that layers in context with the track. Make sure this one's not. It's a bit like parallel compression, you know, you're blending in another one to taste. I wish I had time to start to do like the transitions and stuff and the effects, but sadly not. Last thing is this guy again. So good. I think I could probably get rid of the top melody. Is that this layer? No, this layer. Okay, let's check this. So you could spend a lot longer on those drums and tighten up on your transitions, but if we boil it down to one thing that I didn't quite have time to get into was the 303 bass line thing, which is quite important as well, but it's something we can look at in the future. Start thinking about mainly the using sawtooths and really harmonically rich oscillators if you're going to start using your own wavetables. And it's all about distortion and modulation and putting things in a big cinematic sort of environment. Doesn't necessarily have to be reverb. You could use your own convolution reverb to create a really, really unique sound in space. You could use delays to widen the sound. That fatuator is a distortion engine, which is widening the sound and also reducing the dynamic range, but it's thickening up the sound using distortion and increasing the harmonics. The drums are lame for this, but it's just to demonstrate how it would evolve and groove. But I would suggest that you dig around for some good samples on the ADSR store or make your own and put them to good use. And there is a video showing how you can make your own kicks as well. But we haven't quite touched on snares yet. We just about had time for that little DX7 riser, which is fun. It's actually turned out quite epic. I'm quite happy with it. For such a simple, this was just 2 operators in DX7 with the pitch envelope, nothing else. Really, really simple. I mean, that's pretty cool. Really, really cool. Just shows you don't have to have a really complex process to do these things. And yeah, it's part of that sort of tech sound, if you know what I mean, which is, it's got a lot of those cyberpunk elements. Synthwave would maybe be a bit more melodic, but they all have this sort of driving sort of pulsation sound to them with a lot of movement. So think about using, if you're going to create your own samples or your own presets, use things that shape the time, you know, shape the sound over time, like LFOs and cutoffs is a good point, but also things like tremolos, sidechain things to either a compressor or use a ghost compressor or something like that. And such. So anyway, I haven't looked at this chat in a long old time. Let me have a look. Let's have a look. I'm going to have to go quick back. Cyberpunk the Dark Side. Right, let me just look for some questions. Oh yes, never got around to synth brass, but synth brass would really have just been the process of maybe layering that sawtooth bass with some brass stabs, or actually I've got some cool brass, some Brahms that I made in Serum, which would have really worked here. Very Blade Runner, yeah. Very, very Blade Runner. Let's have a look. Yeah, someone's saying that I don't. It's a shame there's no time code on when people commented, but talking about how something was sounding fire already half an hour ago or something. Yeah, that you don't have to add all these elements. I know I was talking about layering your basses and stuff, but depending on the section of the track, depending on how big you want it to be, it doesn't have to really have much more to it than a great drum sound. Really, we've got a really good bones on that track, other than the drums, but you can only fit so much in. Sorry if I'm going quiet. I'm trying to read these. Someone narrating the story, someone with goosebumps. That's great. It wouldn't be wrong with the back adventure. What preset is that lead? That lead was really, really simple, by the way. It was just a sawtooth. It was a duplicate of the arpeggio. It's such a simple patch. And yeah, pitch bend, Hydrotech, absolutely. some cool narratives. Actually, I don't think there is any questions, which is nice. I hope that means that people have understood it. I just think the 303 would have been the one thing I would have done. Yeah, something like Lindrum would have been awesome on here. I couldn't really find any 80 samples in Presonus' native impact sampler, but there's tons of those sample packs that you can find, and they would be awesome. If we had time, we could have went into layering snares and gaining them and stuff, but you get the gist. Yeah, Kickstarter's brilliant. Yeah, Shaper Box is. Oh, it's on sale right now. Oh, I would seriously suggest that you guys pick that up, because that is a fantastic. If you really want to start to get into your sound design, Shaper Box and the Kilohertz stuff, and the Arturia stuff, and the Sound Toys stuff. They're 4 companies that I'd recommend. Brent Wave. Wow. Now we're getting into some really deep territory. That was like when there was something I said a long time ago on the stream. The Bossolator. Oh yeah, the Bossolator. Yes, apologies about the drums. The intention sadly wasn't to make great samples. The snare was just really weak, but it was just what I was digging out. Faturator, yeah, I think there's a link for it somewhere as well. I'm scrolling through. Yep, tomorrow night, Jane Arneson, by the way. She does some great mixing tutorials. Maybe she can take my track and sort it out. Yeah, feel free to rewatch all of this whenever you want to. Sorry, I always forget about Facebook. I want to see how to sidechain. You learned a lot. That's great. Sorry, I can't understand your name because I've been selfish enough to never learn another language. Apologies. Yeah. The sidechain would have been really, really simple. You would have just dialed up, say, Kickstart and Volume Shaper from Cable Guys will do that much easier for you. But you could just get a compressor. I'll just show it. Why am I talking? Just do it, Brent. Compressor here. If you don't know a compressor, I would suggest that you learn it before you start doing sidechain. And then in any DAW, you'll have an ability here to be able to do a sidechain to a certain track. So, for example, I'm on my DX7 track here. All I have to do is sidechain it to the one Impact ST1, which is the kick. Click that and adjust the threshold, and mainly play with your attack and release, and then it alters how it's going to duck to the kick every time it hits. I know that was a super quick explanation. We might have some content that could help you guys learn sidechain compression in the coming weeks. But that is us for today. I hope that's been really useful. It was really, really fun. Loved that. Very cinematic. Someone's saying major motion movie scoring levels. Yeah, a lot of what I do is most of my work is writing music for TV and film and stuff and advertising. So this was right up my street. Loved it. And part of that process is learning the synths and sound design if you want to be a good composer as well, if you want to be a good artist. So pleased to see that the work is translating. I could definitely see this on Blade Runner. So I hope you had this was a really good one. I really enjoyed it. I tried to get as much as I could in. Sorry about the drums, but I guess we would have had to make it a really big boy stream in order to get all that fully done. So thanks to all the regulars. This was super fun. I hope you all have a great week. Links for everything will be either in the chat, the description, all the tools that I've used. And as always, there's going to be future streams throughout the rest of the week. I'm off on a little holiday now to be re-inspired, and I hope you all have a great week as well. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. I shall catch you next week. Bye-bye.